Hey guys, I was not planning on doing a sit-down video today. I wasn't planning on vlogging or filming anything for quite some time, but I've had this on my heart and I really feel like I need to share it. It's about mental health and being an artist. And just to forewarn you, I'm very emotional lately, especially today. And there might be some, I have water in my growth. There might be some tears shed because what I'm about to talk about is very passionate. And I guess what I want to start out by saying is I don't know any creative or any artist that doesn't struggle with their mental health. Everybody's got different levels. We're all vast. We're all intricate. We vary so differently from person to person, and I don't exactly know how I'm going to try and word vomit this out, but I feel like it needs to be expressed because it's something that I hold close to my heart. And you know, for those of you who aren't new to my channel, I'm gonna feel like a broken record because I talk about this all the time, but I have felt things intensely my entire life, and I've gone through a lot of things in my life, and there's a lot of things that I don't talk about on my channel that I went through, especially in the last decade, and it's been really hard, and I don't think enough people talk about how hard life can be, and especially if you're a person that is creative and you're, kind of doing your plan B, as your career. I talked to a lady today, and I think that that's what kind of really sparked me to really record this too, is because I went out to breakfast with my friend Christine. Now, I've been struggling with my mental health for the last 2 months, especially the last month, and art sales just aren't going good. There's a lot of different variables that go into why I feel the way that I do. If you watched any of my last few vlogs, you've seen that I've been going through it. It's been hard. This woman had breast cancer, or server did, and my friend Christine was talking to her, and Christine was like, "You look great," whatever else, and for some odd reason, me and this woman got to talking about art, because she asked me what I did for an occupation. She's like, "Oh, do you work at, this certain facility, this clinic?" I'm like, "No, I worked there before. I was just a receptionist for 3.5 years." And I think she was a nurse or something like that. I can't exactly remember what she did. And she told me that that was her plan B, and she went for it. And we had this conversation about going the safe route in life, and now she's kind of coming back to her creative side because, she tried to be type A, she tried to be like everybody else and fit that mold, and this woman was probably 60s, maybe 70, if that. And it really shook me to the core. And it really made me think about, there's a lot of times where I doubt my journey. There's a lot of times where I'm like, did I make the right choice by quitting my job? Did I, there's lots of fears that I have. There's a lot of financial issues. God is stripping me of literally everything. Financial stability, just anything that I find, what's the word for it? Anything that I find is like my provider, God is stripping me of it to remind me that He's my provider. Now, you might not be spiritual, you might not believe in God, but I do, and I've noticed time and time again when I put anything before God, it falls to pieces. If I put God first, things flow smoothly. And a lot of times this comes from control. Me and my friend were talking about this morning. I'm trying to control this art thing, and I have this idea of how everything's supposed to go and this idea of how everything's supposed to be, and I'm getting so lost in how things should be that I'm not enjoying the present moment. I'm doing what I wanted to do when I quit my job. The only difference is oops, throwing shit around. The only difference is that I'm not financially abundant like I thought I would be. I'm not where I thought I would be. And so I'm miserable inside, and I'm making myself sick because I'm like, God, all this work for nothing. And I've poured all of my brokenness into my artwork. I've poured all of my trauma into my artwork. And there's a point that I hit this year, especially when I came back I went to a trip after I quit my streaming job, and I just needed to get away from everything. I needed to get away from life. I needed to get away from just everything. And I was so overwhelmed, and I felt kind of lost, and I felt this intuitive pull to just go to this country and experience it. And I ended up going, and it was the best time of my life. And I thrive when I'm traveling, and I thrive meeting people from different cultures because I'm really interested in that. When I was going for my plan B, because she asked me, this lady, we'll revert back to the restaurant thing, this woman asked me, oh my God, what school did you go to for art? And we both were gonna go to the Institute of Arts, but I was explaining that my dad's like, hey, that's way too expensive. He was looking out for me, and I do wonder what my life would be like, but I probably would have got into a bunch of debt because shortly after I would have started school, my mom would have took her own life. That's how she passed away the same year that I graduated. I think about how my life would be different, but there's no going back. And this woman was gonna go as well, and she ended up going to like nursing or medical school just as like her plan B, and she didn't pursue what she wanted. And I thought to myself, you know, I'm being really hard on myself about where I'm at. And I think a lot of us as artists are like that. We're very self-critical. We have this gift to look inward, but sometimes it can be disguised as a curse because we can look inward too much to the point where if we're not seeing a payoff, there's just like it feels like there's something that's not there. It's like this feeling of being unfulfilled when you haven't made it. And, you know, I was really thinking about this too, and I was like, well, when I so-called make it, like this unhappiness isn't just gonna leave. I'm gonna have to work through this trauma. And I think what God is doing is he's shaping me and molding me into this person that I need to be, so when success does come, I can handle it. And there were a few times where I was a little bit worried about myself because my depression hasn't been this bad for an extended period of time, for a long time. Like, I was reverting back to old patterns. I was getting really triggered by a lot of things. And not triggered in the sense like, oh my God, I'm offended. Triggered because I had some really bad shit happen to me in my life. And I'm not making excuses, but I was beside myself because I'm like, what the heck is going on? Like, I've worked my entire life to heal through all of this stuff, and these things are leaking back into my life, like this toxicity. And I can't explain to you guys how long I'm sharing this because I feel like somebody's gonna resonate with this, and I have a point to it. Maybe not a total point. There's a lot of different scenarios that play into it, but I spent years rewiring my brain and talking myself off the ledge, and, you know, just rewiring my brain to not be so negative anymore. And for the last 2 months since I got back from Bali, had the time of my life. I came back lost. Intuition completely shut off. And I'm like, God, are you there? And I think in these moments, we need to just trust. I'm reminding myself. And I think what it's provided me of is like, because I really sat down and thought about this last night. I was like, okay, I'm burnt out, I'm tired. What would be any different if I was getting a ton of orders right now on my website? I would be even more burnt out. I would be even more spread thin. And I think I'm trying to, like, you know, I'm building all this stuff in the back scenes. And I ended up going negative in my account, which I didn't share on my channel because that's going to be a completely different video when I actually make a 180 in my life. And I was negative $54 in my account, and I was freaking out, and good thing I had some money saved at home, and I, you know, put the money in there to save my ass, and I got charged a $30 overdraft fee. So there went another $30, and, you know, I really sat and thought about it, and I was like, I love art so much that I would give everything I have to pursue this. And art not only is like part of my healing journey and part of my healing experience, because like when my mom, you know, unalived herself back in 2012 when I was 18, I was like so lost, and for the longest time in my life I was in the dark. It's like I was in a room and the lights were turned off and nobody was home. You know, I was just on autopilot, and I went through several different remedies to treat my mental health, and I was on different medications. And I share this because my path woven has not been easy. I'm not saying this for anybody to feel sorry for me, and I know I don't need to explain myself, but I'm just saying it like it is because that's just who I am as a person. And maybe somebody will get some inspiration from this, but in that moment yesterday, I thought I would give everything for this dream, because not only has it healed me, I'm doing this because it's for a greater purpose, because when it gets financially stable enough, and I'm Delulu enough to know that it's gonna happen. Like, I'm Delulu enough. I know it's gonna happen. I go through my doubts. You've seen me fall apart online. It's not for attention. It's because I have issues with being overstimulated. I'm pretty sure I'm undiagnosed ADHD. I'm pretty sure that's what my problem is. And I've been trying to like cope and really talk to myself in my head when I'm like panicking inside, and I have this hard time with letting people close to me because it just feels like everybody leaves and these abandonment wounds, and I don't want to feel like this anymore. I don't want to string this shit into my next relationships, and I'm working really hard on how to like healing it, and I know in order to heal it I'm gonna have to be in a relationship to do the work, and it scares the fuck out of me, to be completely honest with you. And yeah, I would literally give everything that I have for this dream. I have like stickers and prints and originals, and I've just been really struggling to find it within myself to paint. And yesterday I pushed myself. I was like, oh my God, like I was being inspired. I was finally getting stuff done in my house because like I've hardly been home. And I got to this place where I was like, oh, I'm feeling so motivated. I like poured a bunch of candles and I was doing this and I was doing that and I was posting on social media. And by the time I scheduled my live and I got to 5 p.m., I was like, God, I don't really feel like doing it. I'm tired. And I pushed through it. And I almost wish I didn't because I was in such a negative state of mind. And I don't know if you watched that stream or anything. By the time you watch this, it'll be posted live. But I was painting this yellow butterfly, and like I was being so hard on myself and so self-critical, and I was like, I didn't want to do it. Everything inside of me didn't want to do it, and I don't know why I'm forcing myself to complete this painting. I think it's like this feeling of relief and this feeling of like, oh my God, finally got it done. And so I can feel accomplished and feel a little bit better about myself because I just feel like I'm turning the wheels and it feels like I'm not getting anywhere. And even though I'm making these tiny micro steps, I know that one day it's going to create a ripple effect. I know this when I'm not spiraling down this rabbit hole. Like this is the spiritual knowingness, intuitive Tyler that like knows that one day that this is going to work out. And I wanted to talk about mental health because I think the most creative people are the ones who struggle with mental health. You might have PTSD, you might have depression, you might have anxiety, you might be bipolar, you might have schizophrenic tendencies, you might have borderline personality disorder. The list goes on. You might have addiction, and I think depression is a lot like addiction. And sometimes people have both, and that really sucks. Some people have a mixture of all of this stuff that, you know, makes us feel like we're messed up. But a lot of times, as hard as I am on myself about being depressed or struggling with anxiety, it's what makes my art what it is. And I'm sitting here fighting the current, and if I would just surrender and just let things be as they are, maybe they would flow a little bit better. And I have like this control problem because I have this goal that I'm trying to get to and this point that I'm trying to prove. And at the end of the day, I thought about it, and I'm not creating art out of the sake of like, cause I enjoy it. I'm treating it like a job. And it took the fun out of it for me. Like these art shows, I've explained this before, when I had a full-time job and then I did this on the side, yes, it was a lot, but it was a lot more fun for me because it was like, okay, I'm not doing my 9 to 5, this isn't a job. You know, I'm not trying to sell myself as an artist and an introvert, and my personality type is an INFJ, and if you're not familiar with what that is, it's extremely introverted. A lot of people think I'm an extrovert because I can come online and I have the confidence within myself. I'm weird like that. I can be on the camera, I can talk to the camera lens, I can stand in front of a crowd of people. I'd be more comfortable with 1,000 people in the crowd than I would 3 people sitting across from me. I'm weird like that. It's just how I'm wired, and I beat myself up a lot of times because, well, maybe if I was just a little bit more extroverted, I could sell my art. And like I have like this guilt attached to like selling myself. Like I'm like, oh my God, well, what if they can't afford it? Like I'm sitting here worrying about other people's financials because I don't want them to lack. You know what I mean? And if someone wants to buy my art, why would I take that opportunity away from them? It's like all of these little things that I struggle with. And I'm not on here to air out my dirty laundry. I'm on here to share that, you know, this journey isn't easy. And there's some people that get online, like there was this guy I was watching, I was comparing myself to him, and it's kind of a fucked up way of saying this, but he lost his brother. My condolences to him. That's any kind of loss is heartbreaking. I really did feel sorry for this guy. He shared one reel about his story, and he blew up, and he's making a living off being a content creator. And I'm like, here I am online spilling my guts about mental health awareness and my journey and what I'm doing. And I just feel like I'm like running a marathon, and it's like I'm out of breath. Like I have nothing left to give. Like I am at the end of my rope. The sparks are flying. Like if it was fireworks, it'd be one of them ones that like you light the end and it just sparks forever. And then it goes out and it doesn't like, you know, it doesn't ignite the firework to take it off. I don't know how else to explain it to you guys. I'm just on here rambling, honestly, but there's a big link. Like the biggest people I know, Edgar Allan Poe. I had my friend Tara's boyfriend, basically husband, Jason, walked into my booth. They were at Cheese Fest. I didn't get her on video. Sorry, Tara, if you're watching this. It was hard for me to vlog. Like, I just can't get into vlogging lately. Anyway, it doesn't matter. But we were talking about, like, Vincent van Gogh and stuff, and Jason goes, hey, you know, like, every great artist really doesn't make it till they're, like, dead. And I'm like, yeah, it's what it feels like it's gonna happen for me. And I have, like, this negative perception of where I'm going in life, even though I have this vision for my life. And what I want to tell you today, and something I need to remind myself of a lot of times, is if God planted that seed in your heart, keep going. Take a rest if you need to. I had to take a break from vlogging. I'm probably not going to be posting as much in July. I might be Julyin because the last second I'm going to come. Well, I have like all these creative ideas, but then the energy might come. But I've been having I've been struggling with a sore throat, and my friend Kayla's like, well, is your throat chakra blocked? And I think it is, because there's a lot of times still, even though I show up as myself on this platform, there's a lot of times where I silence myself because of like how other people are going to perceive me. Like I made these new candles today. They're called cannabis flower. And I didn't post the Snapchat story to my story because I was afraid of what people were going to think. Oh my God. How people were going to perceive me. How stupid is that? Like the company that sells the fragrance, obviously I purchased it. People are going to buy the candle. And if people don't like it, they can not like it and move on with their life. Why do I sit here and care about this stuff? Because I'm overcritical and I overanalyze things. And instead of being hard on myself, I think a lot of times the qualities that we perceive as negative about ourselves are strengths underneath. Like my attention to detail, my ability to multitask, my ability to hyper-focus on projects makes me a mind-blowing employee. But on the other end of that spectrum, I end up doing 6 people's job and I'm getting 1 salary, and then I'm burnt out because I do all these different things and I'm people-pleasing and I'm trying to make everybody proud of me, or, you know, it's like this deep wooded inner child thing where I'm like, oh, they're gonna like me if I do this for them. I'm a helper. I've always been a helper. I help people. I like to help people. And that's why I'm on here and I'm sharing about my journey in art and mental health awareness, is because there's gonna come a day where I wanna help people. And I used to be so full of this wisdom inside of myself, and I was like, you know, this Zen person, like when I am on and I'm like, I call it on the frequency, when I'm tapped into my spirituality, my gifts come out and I say things to people that they need to hear. Like I just have that ability. And I think a lot of times where I get effed up in life is I expect other people to give that back to me. And it's a rare occurrence. And I'm not being like, oh my God, I'm so special. No, it's a gift. And we all have different gifts. And if you're a person that's on YouTube, if you're a person that's an artist, maybe you're doing both, maybe you're thinking about creative, I just want to tell you today not to give up. I'm going to switch out my battery quick because it's dying. I was lucky. Say ADHD without saying it. All of them were dead. I forgot. My brain drives me crazy sometimes. Oh my God. These Canada fires have got me messed up, man. Woo! Yeah. I've been going through it, and yeah, I was saying, if you are an artist or you're somebody who wants to pursue a passion, keep going with it. There's gonna be people that have an opinion. It's hard to shut that off sometimes, and it's hard not to care about that. It's hard sometimes not to let it get to you. But the one thing that I tell myself is, you're not doing it for them. You're doing it for you. And you're doing it for the future people that are gonna gain something out of your art. And there was a video that I was filming when I was on my way to one of my art shows, and it was raining, and I was the first meltdown I had. I've had a few of them, and they're almost at every single art show, I think 3 of them. And I had a meltdown, and I was not having a good time in life. I said something along the lines of, people don't need art until something bad happens in their life. And I said what I meant because it's true. Because there's a lot of people who look at you, you know, when you do these vendor events, you kind of feel like a carny sometimes, especially if it's like your main source of income and your platforms haven't taken off. Like, you have to do things the hard way. And I think the fact of why I'm not enjoying art shows is because I've turned it into a business and I've turned it into my source of income. You know, it's kind of like if you were to go at your job and, you know, you make $18 an hour, and you go in and one day your boss is like, I think I'm gonna give you like $8 an hour today, or I think I'm gonna give you $2 an hour today, because that's what I think you're worth today. That's how it feels as an artist. I'll go to an art show, set up all day, and sometimes I don't make hardly anything. Maybe I'll make the booth fee back, maybe I'll make a little bit more. The last art show that I did, I was there from 9 a.m. to 10:30 p.m. and I made under $500. I paid for all the materials. I paid $135 for my booth fee. I had people steal out of my tent. At the end of the day, I'm making peanuts. And that was heartbreaking for me because I fought the weather. People don't think about all this stuff that goes into it. They don't think about the weather. They don't care. You know, they don't think about that stuff because they're there, they're enjoying their time, they're drinking their beer, making stupid comments about your art, forgetting that you're there, you know, it's, you know, people just being human and making jokes, and there you are sitting there and you're like, wow, I've poured every single thing that I have into this, and it's just, sometimes it's soul crushing. And I think that goes with any business, but there's like this melancholy sadness, and I'm not speaking for every single artist because, you know, regardless if you struggle with mental health or not and you are a creative, there's some people who struggle harder based on circumstances, based on trauma, based on where you're at in your healing, based on if you have the balls to decide to face yourself and like start to heal this stuff and like become a better person. And I was at a place in my life where I felt like I took 16 steps backwards. And I felt like I was a 10-year-old again, and I couldn't manage my emotions at a lot of these events. And like, on the outside looking in, you would have no idea. I would just look like I have RBF. Like, oh, she's having a bad day. Maybe I look like that, maybe I don't. But a lot of people are like, oh, you're in a bad mood, I can't tell. And it's like, you give everything that you have into this thing, and when you're not seeing a reward or a payoff, it's soul crushing. And it's emotional, and I poured all of my brokenness into these pieces, especially like these are stickers of my artwork, but basically like especially this older stuff from 2021, these are stickers as well. It's just a quick reference that I have all of my sadness, all of my trauma, all of my happiness. There's a silver lining to all my pieces. Like, they're bright colors because it's meant to be a light in the darkness, and there's a method to my madness, and there's a reason to my purpose. And there's so many times, like, you'll hear me talk about it in my last few vlogs, like maybe I should get a part-time job. I don't think I'm there yet. Even though I went negative, I'm just barely making ends meet. And if I'm really listening to God and I'm listening to my intuition, not yet. Like, if I'm gonna start to look for a job, I'll probably start to look in like August, because I think I can swing it and make things work. You know, if I get desperate, I will have to do that. But I just keep hearing that not to do that, because what I end up doing when I get a job, like a job on top of being a business owner, being an artist, being a content creator, being a friend, being a sister, being a daughter, helping out my dad, like, there's just all of these different things that go into all of this. And like, if I were to add a job on top of it, I'm gonna be even more unfulfilled and more unhappy. If I just like hone in and focus on surrendering and just getting into the flow of art, maybe things would go a lot differently. And I think, you know, when this is really what I wanted to touch on, this is the point that I want to get to in the video, is I have a very hard time opening up to people when I struggle, and I know a lot of people can resonate with this because they just want to fix it. Or they ignore you like you didn't say anything, or they switch the subject because they can't handle it because they haven't faced their own darkness. And there's so many people that are silenced. And that's why, you know, in a lot of my friendships, I'm the person that listens, because I know what it feels like for people to not sit there and sit with you in the dark. I know what that's like. I've done it almost my whole life. Like when my mom was alive, she was the one person that I could talk to about anything and was always there. You know, when she was gone, that's why I took it so hard, because not only was she my best friend, she was the person that I confided in. She was the one person that I could trust, the one person that wouldn't go around telling everybody my stuff, the one person that, you know, if something bad happened, she knew how to pull me out of it. And throughout these last 12 years, I've had to pull myself out of my own darkness, and I really haven't had anyone there. Like, I've had people light the path here and there, but like some people, like, I have that one core person in my life that I can go to about anything. I don't have that. I don't. And it's no offense to any of my friends or family that's watching this. I don't have that. I don't have that feeling like I can just be ugly in front of somebody. I've had friendships end because like they want to be my friend and they're like drawn to me because of my light, and they're like, oh my god, you're so inspiring, you're so this, you're so that, until life gets dark for me or until I get messy. And it's not that I'm doing anything mean or cruel to them. I'm just not my bubbly, happy self, and I'm just real because I wear my emotions on my face, and they don't want to be friends with me anymore because they're not getting something from me. One realization that was a hard fact I've had, yeah, it's just, it's one of the hardest seasons of my life. And I know it's meant for a greater purpose, and I know that one day things are going to turn around, and I just have like this deep-rooted fear of, like, I have like this phobia of getting sick or ill and like not accomplishing what I want to. And I think that that's the biggest reason why I'm rushed, because when my mom passed away, she was 42. I'm 31. And like, oh my god, 11 years. There's like this part inside of myself that's like freaking out. Like, oh my god, I don't have that much time. And I know I have time. And I know it's a lie from the enemy that I don't have a lot of time, because I know if I ever got sick, I'd be like, all right, let's take this on, we're gonna fight it. Because I'm a fighter. That's why I'm feisty. I get frustrated and I like struggle with anger, even though I'm very empathetic and very love, patience, kindness, I'm all of that. But when you cross the line, I'm gonna F your shit up. Like, I'm a thug. I'm a thug deep down inside. But yeah, I think when someone's struggling with their mental health, the best thing that you can do is sit with them or just ask them what they need. That's the one thing that I've never really understood from people around me, is like, they never ask me what I need. They just assume. And somebody's mental health, it's different from person to person. What works for one person isn't going to work for another. Like, speaking for myself, like antidepressants doesn't work for me. I'm a skinny person, okay? I'm 5'10", just about, just barely under 5'10", and I weigh 135 pounds, if that. I'm a skinny person, right? I metabolize medication. And I've tried 6 different ones. I've tried 2 different anti-anxiety medications. Those knocked me out like horse. Didn't like the way that they made me feel. I didn't like the way the antidepressants made me feel. I quit them cold turkey. Do not recommend that whatsoever. Don't do it. I had what was called the brain shakes. I was like very paranoid. It was like coming off drugs, even though I've never done hard drugs. It was one of the worst experiences. I was scared, and I stayed in bed a lot because I was kind of scared of myself, like, this is not a good feeling. And antidepressants don't work for me. And one doctor told me when I was 18, his name was Dr. Waldo, I've talked about him before, but he lost his dad when he was young, and I think he was 15 at the time. One thing that he said that stuck with me for these last 12 years, or even for this whole time, and I knew what he meant, but I didn't fully comprehend what he meant. And he's like, Tyler, you can keep sticking a Band-Aid on the problem, but until you end up facing it, then the healing starts. I knew what he meant, but I didn't feel it. It's kind of like gratitude. When I moved away and I ran away and I chased my dreams in New Jersey of becoming a high fashion model, this was before I got covered in tattoos. It didn't work out. I moved back and I took the same route that I took to the shitty job I had before I ended up leaving there. That's the reason why I left that job. That was my way of escaping. Like, I'm out of here, man. Like, I had it with that facility. And I took the same drive that I normally would go to that job, like when I got back home. And the way that everything looked, full gratitude. The first time I really felt it deep within my heart. And I think sometimes we have to go through life-changing events to feel things. As much as that sucks, and they say be careful what you pray for, and it's a real statement. I have where are they? Like, I have so many tattoos. This is create, understand, and explore. Don't ask me where it's from. It was off Pinterest. I got it when I was in the pit of my struggle. And I got this tattoo when I was living with my Aunt Candy. I think I was maybe 22, 23 at the time. I wanted to create, I wanted to understand, and I wanted to explore. The understanding part, I wanted to understand people better. You know what God did? He sent me through trials. More trials. And I was an already empathetic person. But he sent me through these trials so I could better understand people. And that's the only way that I can wrap my head around all the shit that I've been through in my life, is it's so I can better understand people. It's so I can hold the space. It's so I can have the empathy. It's so that I can have a voice and speak for people that are afraid to promote themselves, or they have these fears, or they have these self-limiting beliefs. And I still have them. I'm not saying I'm perfect, but I'm on here talking to you today because I have the confidence, and I've built this over time. You know, when I first got on YouTube, I wasn't fully confident. I was kind of faking it a little bit. Like, there was this part of myself that was, I'm nervous. I don't know what to do with my hands. You know what I'm saying? I had no idea what to do. And I just kept showing up time and time again. And there's these moments throughout this journey, and I've been very transparent about it. And it's not that I'm being negative. I have these negative thoughts, but they're real emotions. It's like, I feel like quitting. If I feel like quitting, you're damn right I'm going to talk about it, because that's just who I am as a person. I'm not going to come on here and sugarcoat stuff. And I think, you know, one of the things that people do value about me on my platform is that I am real and that I am transparent about the journey. And I was talking to my friend Britt, I mentioned this in my last video, but the last meltdown I had when I did Thursdays Downtown, the first one of the year, it's like, I don't know if I should post that. She's like, girl, life is messy, post it. I was like, you know what, you're right. That's all I needed to hear. You're right. And these growing pains are not fun. If you're following your dreams, and trying to look at the time, oh, I still have time. I have to do an online auction. I was like, oh, I have a window of time. I'm gonna get on my camera and talk about this because it's been on my heart and I need to share it with somebody. I have a hard time with, I've talked about my issues with organized religion and people acting like they're perfect. It goes a lot further than that. There are bad people everywhere that you go. There's always going to be bad, and there's always going to be good. Especially on social media, there's a lot of fake people. There's a lot of people that show up and they're like, oh my god, so I got this bag and this is like my haul, and like I just can't stand it. Like, I try and look for new vloggers, and I have this core group of vloggers that I follow, and it's people that are real, people that aren't afraid to say it like it is. And there's a lot of times where I've like filtered myself on my channel because I'm like, oh my god, well, how's a person gonna perceive this? Like, I talked about my conservative views, like not really in depth, but just mentioning that. And like, there's a part of me that almost cut that out because I know I'm gonna get ridiculed online for it. There's more to a person than their political view. And people can demonize you. They're gonna demonize you about anything anyway. There's gonna be always a reason why somebody finds something to hate about you. And there's some people who hate me because I've been told I'm very intimidating in person. Because I care a lot and I care too much, but at the same time, I don't give a fuck if somebody likes me or not. I don't. If you don't like me, I'm gonna carry on with my life. Old me would have been like, oh my god, well, I'm just gonna prove my worth to you, and that's gonna be my next video. I'm gonna talk about having tattoos and how people are perceiving me, because I've gotten a lot of really dirty looks for the way that I look. I'm walking art. I'm an artist. That's who I am. I don't need to be a tattoo artist just to have a lot of tattoos. I have tattoos because I value art, and I value what artists put into it. Like, I'll give my tattoo artist, whether it's Taylor Sue, whether it's Mitch Koch, whether it's Nick Armstrong did my color, and then there's a guy from Oregon who did the portrait of my mom. I gave them the concept and I let them run wild with it, because the biggest reason why I don't do commissions is because I don't want somebody sitting there telling me what to do, because I have a problem with that. I'm not good when people tell me what to do. It's like, no, Patricia, it's not gonna work that way. I will not be told what to do, so I think that's the biggest reason why when, you know, I'm struggling with my mental health and people are trying to shove some positivity BS down my throat, I get really angry about it. And I'm like, oh, just be happy, just put a smile on. Isn't that just wonderful? Oh my God, the weather's gonna be great. Okay, Candace, the wind is 30 miles per hour. All my stuff is getting covered with dust. And I'm here all day and I hardly made anything, but just tell me to be grateful. That's gonna make everything so much better. When someone's struggling, don't tell them to just be happy. Don't tell them to put a smile on. Don't tell them to just be grateful, because none of that shit works. I'm telling you right now, don't do it to somebody that you know. If you're somebody who doesn't struggle with mental health, this is me getting protective over people that are struggling with their mental health. This is me standing up for them. Don't try and shove stuff down their throat. Ask them how you can help them. Ask them how you can show up for them. Ask them how you can be there for them. Ask them what they need. Maybe it's not much. Maybe it's 10 or 15 minutes telling you about what's bothering them. Because I tell you what, it's going to work a hell of a lot more better than medication ever will. Because as humans, we need to be connected. I'm passionate about this because I know what it's like. I know what it's like to be in the dark. I know what it's like for people to dismiss my emotions. And it's not all about me. It's not. But when I'm struggling and I can't show up as myself and people are getting mad at me about that, don't be mad if you can't be there for me then. Because that's what friendships are for. You know, it's a reciprocal thing. We all just want to feel connected. We all want to feel seen, heard, understood, and valued. Like we matter. I don't care who you are. You want to feel like you're important. You want to feel like you have a purpose. You want to feel like standing there, your presence is loved. We just want to be loved. We want to be loved for who we are. We don't want to hide these broken parts of ourselves. We don't want to cover our cracks with mud. Say if you have a broken porcelain bowl and you try and put it together with mud, what's going to happen when it dries? It might hold up for a little bit, but it's going to fall apart again. People want to be cemented. They want to be the gold, like in, you know, I don't know if it's like Japanese or China or whatever country it is, but they'll literally put gold in the cracks to make it more beautiful. That's how we are as people. There's a reason why we have this brokenness to us. It's not to haunt us, even though it feels like, what's the right word for it? It feels like a curse sometimes. But those broken parts are what make us beautiful. If I didn't go through the fire, I wouldn't know how to be there for other people like I know how to show up. If I didn't lose my mom, I wouldn't know how to be there for somebody that lost theirs. I know what people need when they lose somebody, most times. I still ask, but I know what they need. I show up, I help them clean stuff out. This is stuff that I don't talk about because I'm not saying it because I'm a perfect person, but I've had a few people in my life, it's like they can't take care of their own stuff. I'll go clean their house for them because I care. Because when my mom passed away and I had to go through her things, my cousin Isabel helped me, but I moved her stuff around storage and all of this other stuff, and it was really stressful for me, and I was barely hanging on by a thread. And there's a lot of people in your life that are barely hanging on by a thread, and if you would just give them that 10 or 15 minutes to share their heart with you, you could save their life. I'm saying this from experience. And I'm passionate about mental health because I struggle with it every single day of my life. Some days are better, some days are not. There's a lot of times where I wake up in the morning and it takes me until noon to get myself out of my head. I have to be alone. I'm trying to heal these parts of myself so I don't push a potential partner out of my life because I've self-regulated or tried to for such a long time. I want someone to be able to be there for me in that manner, like romantically. I want to let them, but I've been so programmed by these past really bad relationships that I can't show up and be vulnerable. Like being vulnerable, growing up, and I'm not blaming my parents, but like growing up and being vulnerable in front of men has been very hard for me because I've been taught my entire life that it's not okay. And I've pushed away really nice guys in the past and I didn't realize I friend zoned them because it didn't feel safe, it wasn't familiar. And it's like, I want somebody who can be there for me. I want somebody who can comfort me. Why am I pushing it away? Because I don't feel like I deserve it. And that's one of my things that I'm trying to work through in my heart. And I know I probably need more therapy and stuff, and maybe you're a person watching this and you can resonate. I'm just sharing my heart and sharing what's in my soul, because I know that somebody's gonna feel a little bit more understood today. And I know it's cliche to say, but I want you to know that you're loved, you're valued, I care. If you're struggling, leave me a comment down below. I have my struggles too, but maybe we can build a little community so we feel a little bit less alone. You know, people are saying you're not alone, and it feels like they're kind of dismissing your problems or whatever, but I want you to know that I care. And if you're an artist or you're somebody who wants to get back into art and you just can't find that passion, let this be your passion today, or this to ignite the flame within inside of yourself. Create the art. Do it. Do it badly. If you think it sucks, whatever. Somebody else will find it beautiful. You know? It's kind of like when a relationship doesn't work out. Say you're a good person and you just go through shit relationships. You're going to eventually come across somebody who values you for who you are. You're going to eventually find friends that accept you for who you are. And they're going to be there for you till the end of times. And you're going to eventually have that support system if you keep heading in that direction. And you deserve good things. I want you to know that today. I think that's all I have to say. You're loved, you're seen. Even though I'm on the other side of the camera, if you needed to hear that today. I love you. You're loved. So I hope this provided some sense of comfort for you. It needed to be said. So I hope you have a great rest of your day. I don't know how frequently I'll be posting in July because I need to take a step back from this, but you matter. Have a wonderful day. Peace out, homages.